Hey guys, what's going on? Hope you guys having a great week of training. So this week I want to talk about high-level competitors and just an observation that was brought to my attention. And it's something that I've observed too, but it's not something I would think to even write about. But a lot of times with high-level guys, high-level competitors, you won't see them drilling really, or really not as much as you would figure, just based off like all the videos on YouTube and all the videos on Facebook. Like if you go by the videos, like you would think everybody's drilling all the time, but in real life that's not always the case. So I just want to bring up a few things to kind of explain why that might be, um, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth for you guys too. So I think one big reason that I think you won't see a lot of high-level competitors drilling as much. It's just because they don't have a lot of time. There's only so much time in the day to like teach your classes and teach private lessons that you might not have time to focus on your own training as much or just your drilling as much. You'll especially see this with like newer high-level guys that open up a new academy, and they have all these white belts. It's like, man, they have so much on their plate, they're not going to have time to even think about drilling techniques. So that's a big one. Another one is they might not have access to high-level training partners. So I don't know if you guys have ever done techniques with like someone that's like at a lower level than yourself, like a way lower level, but you end up having to pull the person along and like teach them a little lesson instead of like focusing on your own training. So with high level guys, like the better they get, the farther that skill discrepancy is. So it's really hard for them to find people that that will help, that can help them get better by drilling. So you'll see that a lot. I know for me personally, I'm really, really, really strict on who I work techniques with and who I drill techniques with, because it's once you get to a certain skill level, you're looking for these different types of reactions, these different types of movements that maybe someone less experienced won't be able to help you with at that point. So I think those are two major reasons why high level guys don't really drill as much. My third reason is that a lot of their like when you're drilling, you're working on your technique, you're trying to improve your timing and become sharper. So a lot of guys, they'll just do that while they're rolling. So they'll have a move or technique they want to work on, and so instead of drilling a move and it's like the person doesn't give you resistance or anything, I feel that sometimes it's better to just to try and do a move on someone that doesn't know what I'm trying to do, and they're giving me full resistance. So in effect, it's actually harder to do the move, but like your timing is going to get better and your control is going to get better. You're gonna get just more feedback from your partner versus when you're drilling. Sometimes the drilling can be very idealized. If you guys watch the Instagram techniques, it's like, oh, the person does this and lets you do everything you want to do and you get the move perfectly. But when you're rolling, like, sometimes most of the time, it's never that easy, and the person does something crazy and you're like, man, I didn't expect that, but I had to stick with your technique. So I think a lot of high level guys, they'll focus on experimenting during their rolls. And so I'm sure you guys have all experienced that with like a high level black belt or brown belt or whatever. And they're doing the same move on you. And you're like, man, how are they doing the same move on me? Or why are they doing the same move on you? Well, now it's because they were practicing their movements on you. I mean, of course you didn't know it, but they knew that they wanted to do the move on you. So you'll see that a lot with high level guys. And of course, everybody's different. Everyone has different style, learning style, body type. So you just have to find out what works for you. Some people like to drill techniques. So like Rafael Mendez, Cobrinha likes to do flow drills. Some people like to do positional sparrings where they limit the techniques that they can utilize, or they'll start in a specific position and work to get out or work to advance from there. And then of course you have rolling, which I think everyone pretty much knows and does. So you just got to find what's the right combination for yourself and what works best for you. Um, and it's important to study what the high level guys are doing, just because, you know, it works and they've been successful. So you need to understand what they're doing, but you also need to take a step back and figure out what works best for you personally, because everyone's different, and you never know. You might find a way that's better than that high level black belt guy's way. So you never want to discount yourself. One thing I've noticed with high level competitors and black belt world champions is that they really don't have to do the moves really a lot to understand the concepts behind the moves. So I've seen, like, you know, black belt world champions see a move and then maybe practice the move like once or twice, and then man, it just clicked like that, and he understood the move, and you know, he pretty much mastered the move right then and there. And so at that point, they just need to practice a little bit, and then they can move on to the next move. So I think that's one really amazing thing about a high level person, is that they're just able to take in all this information, and just be able to implement it like nothing. And if you train at like an academy with, you know, high level athletes, man, you just see that they're able to do so much and pick up on so many techniques, and they have so much experience, and they're so good that, man, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of just them getting better and better and better and better and better. Um, so yeah, high level guys, you know, what they have to work on is not exactly what you need to work on all the time. They're at such a point where, you know, maybe they're thinking about jiu-jitsu constantly. So for them, they don't have to practice the move as much. They can like do like image training or visualization, and you know, for them that's all they have to do. Or maybe they're watching video or something. So again, just find what works best for you, and don't worry about everyone else. That's my advice to everyone. um, and with that rolling thing, I will say that you need to be at a high level. Like, you need to be better than the majority of your training partners for that to be beneficial for your training. You need to be at the point where you can consciously work on pretty much 80% of the moves that you want to work on, and it doesn't matter how tough the other person is. Like, you have like such a high chance of just being able to do the moves. And of course, if you're not at that level yet, again, drilling is really beneficial. I think it's really important, especially initially, to get that movement skill. Just develop that movement skill and that muscle memory. And then as you progress, like, maybe you might not need to drill as much because you understand the concepts behind moves, like movements and the techniques. So maybe you have to just think about the move more. Maybe you just need to practice the move and you're rolling more. And you just see, like, the high level guys, like, they're able to make those little adjustments. The analogy I like to think of is like, or I like to quote is like, they're like safe crackers. Like, you know, they don't know the code, man, but they can adjust it so in such a way that they can get that safe open. And that's the same way for their techniques, especially like learning new techniques. Like, they might not know the technique like fully in its outright and fully, but they can understand. They know so much about jiu-jitsu that they can, once they break it down into little details, man, like, they're so good at it already. So that's why high level guys, they do drill, but they don't need to drill as much as you know, lower belts and lower level people. But again, if you guys have any questions, man, hit me down in the comment section. I'm always looking for just things that will bring more value to you guys. Again, give me a like or subscribe, and can't wait till next video, guys. Take care. Ciao.